coming. I really appreciate it. Today, we're going to figure out the mysteries of life. How possibly we can expand our business. If you look at businesses, the way businesses expand, they either expand by putting out new products, approaching a new demographic, more salespeople, or more stores. Starbucks is an example of that. This is kind of like that, because you're introducing a new product to a demographic that most of my customers don't really chase. And chasing is also a part of helping too, because you're helping address people that really can use this experience, which is made to measure and custom. So enough about what it's about, you know what it's about. To my right, we have a very distinguished panel. They're going to tell you their bios themselves, and to my left, look at this. We're surrounded. I love it. So I'm going to pass this over to Karen. The people should speak about their bios, what we're about. We have, one of the things that brought us to this is that factories now have kind of broken a little bit of the code on how to make for women. It used to be that it was a man's factory taking a man's pattern and just altering the measurements. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's totally different. It's a totally different experience as well. So I'm going to turn it off to the experts that have on my side. Karen, please. Karen Alberg from MR Magazine, a star.
Thank you. Thanks, Guy. You're very sweet, and welcome to everyone. I am not an expert in measure clothing or custom clothing, but my job is to just ask questions of these very brilliant panelists who have done very well in this category. For those of you, I've heard people say, the last thing I want to add to my men's business is women's. You know, it's like, I got enough problems. But they will tell you otherwise and how to do it successfully. So I'm going to start by letting the panel just tell a little bit of their journey, how you got to this point in your career, who you are, first of all, who you work for, and your brief description of your journey here. So let us start.
We're going to go in a row?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so we'll just go down first.
So my name is Juliana Civello, and I started my tailoring business 10 years ago. I'm based out of Rome, in Italy, and I had a showroom in New York with a business partner who was nice enough to be here today. And after 15 years, I decided to go back to Italy, and I was really striving for made-to-measure product, quality product, the highest level fabrics that I could find and get my hands on. Because after seeing so many collections, I really started to become very, very specific on what I wanted and how I wanted it. So I found a group of seamstresses that are all work from home, and they are all a Fendi haute couture background. So they're very good at sewing silk. And then with some friends who had a silk mill, I started this little project, and it's 10 years later now, and it's going successfully. And I started collaborating with a few stores in the States who do not do women's wear. So I come in and I pretty much bring my collection and I do the make-to-measure for them. And I think that in this way, they also get to see how the customers' wives respond to women's wear, first and foremost. Am I going too far ahead?
No, stop.
First and foremost, it's without having to, it's like getting their foot wet without having to actually take the risk in buying things, or, you know, to see if there's a customer basis first and foremost. And then obviously that customer basis will buy things from me, but will also start buying things if they put them in the store and start making make-to-measure in the store. So that's also an interesting, obviously I take care of all of it. If there's even something to be handed, it comes back to Italy and goes back to the store or directly to the client. Obviously with women's wear, the client's problems become your problems. I'm sure they can all, you know, attest to that. So I've gained 2 kilos, I'm bloated today, all of that is your problem.
Yes.
Right.
Very good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent overview. Kristen, do you want to?
Yes. I'm Kristen Kamal. I have been in the business for about 20 years. I'm with Trinity Apparel. So I started on the retail side with my father, and there was no women's at the time, which I was like, this is not fair, so I need to find something to wear. So I was just wearing, just ordering it from the men's factory. And women were like, well, if you're wearing it, I want to wear it. Where do I get that? So I was telling my dad, I was like, we've got to find something. And at the time, 17 years ago, there's really nothing out there. So now it's really expanded. And women, they really just want something different, Like I worked with a lot of attorneys who were like, I just want something to fit nice. I want a nice sport coat, something that is going to look nice. I'm out there, I'm the attorney, I'm in front of everybody. So did that for about 17 years, then moved to the wholesale side, sold men's and women's custom shirts. And now I'm with Trinity we're going to be launching women's in 2026. So that's my story.
Awesome, thanks story. Jeff, we have our one male.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Yay.
How we doing? My name is Jeff Lyons. I'm with 9 Dealer Boston. I've been in this custom business for over 20 years now. I started as a consumer. I have a very long arm and started buying custom clothing when I was actually in the financial service field. And since I'm an entrepreneur, a friend of mine recruited me to join his business to start custom clothing together. In 2008, we went our separate ways in terms of the custom clothing business was not doing well. So I became a retail consultant. As a retail consultant, I worked with different brands, helped them open stores in Boston. And later on, a friend of mine, who actually the original owner of 9 Dealer Boston, who I work now, also recruited me again to help with some marketing. And I realized that it was more of a people and culture situation. So I helped her rebrand and restructure the company. And during the recent pandemic that we had, she decided not to continue with the business. So I said, well, I'm not going to work for anybody else. So I bought the business. So I started as an employee of 9 Dealers. Now I'm the owner of 9 Dealers after the pandemic. So we had a natural traffic of women coming through the store because we were making menswear, and these female bodies wanted very masculine clothing. From that natural traffic, natural organic traffic, because they wanted men's clothing. Then when we started, women wanted more female, more femme product. I saw an opportunity for us to make sure we talk to that audience and also create product that were more femme. And so we started doing that. And for us in Boston, there's not a lot of choices, just because, just like you said, the female market, not a lot of people want to go that route because it requires a lot more empathy, it requires a lot more patience, and requires a lot more time. And because we're Black women only, we have all that, So so for us, it's part of our mission. It's part of our offering. We offer a very diverse assortment, but also be more customer focused. So again, Jeff 9 Dealer Boston. So we have a full alteration shop. So if you have a customer in Boston and you want them to do alterations, so feel free to send them to me. Shameless plug.
Thank you, Jeff. Dara.
My partner in yellow. So for those of you who don't know, yellow is the color of yes.
Yes!
Yes. Something we all strive for. My name is Dara Lamb, and I'm from New York. I started my business, I'll admit to 40 years ago, a little bit longer than that. I have focused on exclusively women's since the very beginning. And as you can see, there is a way to do a sustainable, long-lasting women's business. I am proof of that. I started my business because of two factors. One was frustration, the other was revelation. Frustration as a very young business artist turned engineer business person, not finding the clothing that I finally figured out I needed. When I finally figured out what I needed, it took me a year and a half to find the right suit. What was a suit in those days? Which was never tailored properly for me, and I didn't know that for about a year while I was wearing it. That's the frustrating part of it, and not having the service in a men's store that was appropriate for women, from everything from the bedside manner to the understanding of my work, to the understanding of my time, the understanding of what kind of product I might want. The revelation side of it was once I put that suit on, my world changed. My professional world changed, my acceptance, my credibility, everything changed for me, almost overnight. And when that happened, I said, this is what I want to do. I want my mission to be helping women get what they need to perform in a professional environment, get taken seriously, and get their seats at the table. Because if women can get their seats at the table in an equal number, things might change. So that was my mission then. Things have changed. I haven't, I've played a small part in that. So it's been a very, very rewarding business to be in, both seeing how you can change someone's lives and change the echoes of the world around them. Along the way, given both my artistic and my engineering background, it also became a journey of how to fit women, how to construct a product for women that was repeatable. Repeatable is very, very important because women don't have a lot of time and they don't want to be bothered. And if you perform well for them, they will come back and rely on you. And if you perform inconsistently, that is a big problem. So although I created 2 lines for 2 different price points. One is made to measure, which has been in the past a licensed product and was sold wholesale. Watch this space, it may happen again. And a bespoke product that is can be everything from a ball gown, which I don't do many of, admittedly. I do them for my clients who are my regular clients, and I'll do couture gowns for them, but I do everything in between: suitings, jackets, tops, overcoats, shirts, everything you can imagine. And it's been on the bespoke side especially, and the made-to-measure side, it's really is understanding how I can construct the garment and translate the heritage of bespoke and menswear in a way that it can be so comfortable on the female form that they're not just waiting to rip off their jacket at the end of the day. And that's very important. I mean, obviously in menswear, but for women too, people don't necessarily think about how does she move, how is her posture different, how is her shoulder line different, and what does that mean when she's wearing her garment all day long. So that's been a wonderful journey, and I'm so glad that I'm not alone on it anymore. So welcome to the party, everybody.
Comment Dara showed me a little while ago. One of her customers is an orchestra conductor, and she was trying on the pattern and moving her arms the way she does in her work to make sure that everything was comfortable and moved perfectly. So I just thought that was very cool.
Just saying the one thing, and if anybody wants to see what it looks like afterwards, they're welcome to. The challenge was, how do you get someone that moves a lot? And even you can see me when I raise my arm this way, how it raises my jacket. How do we get that sleeve, the armhole point, the shoulder line, the point of the sleeve to work in a way so that the jacket or the piece does not move while she's moving. And it was fun.
We need an engineer degree to do that. But she's got that, so pretty perfect match. Maddie.
Hi, my name is Maddie Muller, and I'm with Trends USA. So I'm on the manufacturing side of things. And I started out in the industry working in menswear, and like some of the other people we have up here, I also wanted to figure out how to make things for myself. And so when you're in a store all day and you're selling these beautiful garments, of course you're going to want something of your own to wear. And so I went through a lot of trial and error. I tested everything out. I learned all of it. I was really lucky to have great mentors and great teachers along the way that instilled a lot of their knowledge into me and passed it along. Currently with Trans USA, I travel the country and I train our customers on how to feel a little bit more comfortable working with women and doing ladies tailoring. I'll say too that the current project that I am working on is launching a new division under Diane, our manufacturer, that is specifically for women and targeted only at women. So it's been a really fun project to be a part of. We're really looking forward to it for 2026 and putting together a really strong showing and bringing all the custom garments that men have the opportunity to make to the ladies' side.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexa Roberti. I actually started my career in finance, but I always had a deep connection to tailoring through my family. My father, uncle, and grandfather started Adrian Jewels, where we do private label manufacturing out of Rochester, New York. So when I joined as third generation with Adrian Jewels, I was able to learn and appreciate handcrafted custom clothing for men. But as so many of these women up here, you start to think, wow, there is a gap in the marketplace for women's wear. So I was hoping to build out a product, both made at our factory in the US and out of a ladies' factory abroad, where we would use female silhouettes so we can provide a feminine pattern, not a men's garment adjusted for women. So that's where our platinum line came from, where we can do corporate and couture styles, because we really want to make sure that, I think everyone up here, women can have very similar experiences as men when it comes to custom clothing with the options, and even more, because there are more styles for women that we like to wear, like the sleeveless jacket that I'm wearing up here, or many of the other great quality garments.
Thank you. Xiaoyang is my one custom, I actually have two custom suits. One of them I'm wearing that she designed. She's brilliant. She made it look effortless. I would say, why are we even talking about problems? Because for some reason this was problem-free. So Xiao, what is your secret?
I don't know. Lots of schooling. Hi, I'm Chow. I'm from the tailor, New York. We're based out in New York. I started the tailoring probably a little over 10 years ago, and I started it because I saw in the tailoring space there was a lack of inclusivity and diversity, and I really wanted to bring a safer space for a lot of people to experience the art of custom. And when I first started, funny enough, most of my clients were women. And as I evolved the company, we became not just a suiting place for women, but we also became a place for everybody and anybody on the gender spectrum. And we have really pride ourselves on creating garments that is fully affirming to the wearer. However they identify, however they want their clothing to speak for them, we were able to create that. And after over 10 years, we started to see that a lot of our clients are looking for things that are not fully custom, that they can readily buy, and which is why we started my namesake label, Xiao, in 2023. We show at Fashion Week. We really pushed the envelope with custom tailoring and fashion design. So we're like at the intersection of design and tailoring and streetwear, and it's doing really well. So I think it speaks to a lot of people, and we're really proud to be able to kind of offer this type of service to everyone. So.
Excellent.
And Emily.
Hi everyone, I'm Emily Zimmerman. I started my custom career 20 years ago selling mostly to women at Tom James, which at that time was really mainly just men selling to men. I was the #1 Chicago rep selling to women at that time. Later on, went on to Trunk Club for many years, created the sales and training program there. Nordstrom bought us it's sadly been away. I'm now at Label and have been there for 3.5 years. And for the first time, after selling women's many years ago, we finally have a manufacturer and a product that I'm proud for our team to sell and for me to wear. Like I have on today. So we are very passionate about women's now, simply for the opportunity, but again, my history has mainly been in menswear, but I'll be repetitive with everyone here. We've always just wanted a product that represents women, fits women, and can really scale as well.
We have a lot of questions here, so I'm just debating if you want to pass on any of these questions because you don't have enough to say or whatever, just say, I pass, and I'm just worried about the time factor here. I wish I could keep you here longer, all of you. Okay, so basically let's start with the key challenges. Some of you touched upon them and how you are overcoming them. Give me like 1 or 2 of your biggest concerns or problems or obstacles to doing more business and how you're dealing with those. Emily, do you want to start with you and then we'll go back down the other way this time?
I wish I could say there was just one, but I'll give maybe one that maybe most sellers don't think of, and that's the merchandising aspect of this, and it's also maybe manufacturers aren't thinking about this, but it's really how swatches are put in books, how sellers present the swatches, the outfitting that is necessary for women to really understand the whole scale and big picture. They shop differently than men, they think differently for the most part, and the merchandising just needs to be very thoughtful and simplified, but also elevated.
Yeah.
So I think, well, doing custom is a challenge in itself, right? Because you're meeting with so many different people and they all have different needs and identity and purpose for their garment. When it comes to our clients, I think the biggest challenge for us is to really understand where their pain points are and really understand what is going to make them feel like themselves and have the world see them the way they want to be seen. And sometimes that requires a lot more hand-holding, a lot more conversations, and really getting vulnerable with them and speaking to them about things that they're uncomfortable with, things that they want to highlight on their body, things that they want to de-emphasize, and really being able to take all of that information, translate that into the pattern, and then doing the fittings according to what their ultimate vision of themselves is going to be. So I encourage everyone to have more conversations.
Thank you, Alexa.
Building off of that, I would say setting the right expectations from the get-go, especially if you're new to women's custom clothing. Women tend to have a variety of different body types, whereas men see a lot of the same styles. Block patterns might work well off of men's, but for women, there are more nuances to it. So I think really getting with a mentor or a maker that has done this before, that has invested the R&D, that has seen different body styles, might know where you want to put a dart, where you might want to nip something on the waist, but expand something on the shoulder. And then also verbalizing that to your customer so they know what to expect going forward, and you may have multiple fittings. So that's what I would recommend.
Thank you, Maddie.
Yeah, so I'll build off of what Alex has said a little bit too. It's really important in women's wear that we're understanding the silhouette that we're building. So I think a lot of us in this room can relate to maybe like a bomber jacket and a tailored blazer. Those two garments, they have completely different silhouettes when we're just looking at the pattern. And so understanding how that's going to be placed on someone's body and making sure that for each different garment type, we are thinking of the final product. And so I see this a lot where people are, they're wanting to put something a little bit too close to the body. I feel like that's a really common one. And I always say it's a lot easier to go a little bit bigger than be a little bit too small. And so keeping that in mind is always great.
Thank you, Jared.
All good, wonderful points, and I'm going to depart a little bit from the specifics of expectations of one individual or one individual sale. because I know most of you are here because you don't want to have one individual sale. You want to have a sustainable long-term business. And I have seen many people go in and out of business in my 40 years of being here. And there was actually, somebody said 17 years ago there weren't any product out there. But not everybody was carrying it because they tiptoe in, they make some wrong choices, and then they run scurrying away. And I've seen that a lot. And that hasn't got to do so much with an individual customer. It doesn't have to do so much with the product. The product has to be right, just like there's, wonderful product upstairs, but you know how to choose best for your particular customer, your particular geography, and who your target market is. What I see a lot in the menswear companies that attempt to do women's is there's a more cavalier approach in that, or less proactive approach in approaching the business. So rather than starting from the standpoint of, okay, who will my target market be? Once I establish that, like if I'm in Atlanta or if I'm in North Carolina, what are these women doing? What do they need? What can I offer them? And how do I get a repeatable customer? Choosing that first is a business strategy. So from that, then you choose your offering, your competitive advantage, your differentiator. One thing to recognize is it's not completely tabula rasa in the women's market. That one of the issues is there is a lot of product out there for women, a lot of varied product. So they're used to buying clothing, they're used to having a lot of different choices, they can navigate that. So once you decide who your particular target is, then some of the choices get easy. It's easier to figure out what you need to invest in. And again, investing in the right product, investing in the right marketing, investing in the right messaging, investing in the right salespeople, all of these choices become easier when you have a specific business strategy. So what I would say is that if your business is going to be determined by, oh gee, I'm working with a man and his wife always had a problem getting shirts, so I'm going to make a shirt for her. Run from that business. Do not start there. That will be the beginning and the end. Same thing on pants. Run from that business. You want to start with something that is really where your biggest margin is. You're going to learn, you're going to learn about the client, and there are going to be there's going to be work that has to be done during that. And we talk a lot about setting the expectations of the client. We also have to set our own expectations. Like, what is this business going to cost us to get involved in? And, do you want to make that decision? It's a great business. It's a growing business. It could be a very sustainable business. But those questions have to be asked first. So that's my biggest suggestion out there for anybody who's thinking of a women's business.
Jeff.
Yes, thank you. We started talking about challenges, and everything you just said was challenge, marketing, manufacturing, yada, yada, yada. My biggest issue was the fact that I have the traffic. We have the folks who want female body clothing, who want feminine clothing, they want something that, represent who they are. The issue I was having was the fact that I was not getting the right manufacturing partner. So it took me 4 years to be able to find a manufacturing partner that can give me a size zipper. And that happened just because somebody that came to my shop and they were female presenting, they had a female, they were getting married, they don't want to wear pants with front zipper, and we couldn't provide them that. So I have the customer, but I couldn't get the manufacturing partner to do that. And I walked to many of the floors, all these trade shows, we couldn't get that. So keep searching. And by the way, I didn't need to do that just because our business is running fine. We have the men product and we have a very masculine suit that we're producing. But because that one customer said, this is what I need, and I realized that we need to do that for them. And there's more of her that wanted to come to the door. So I want to make sure that I get the right manufacturing partner. That was my biggest challenge. So I agree with you in terms of we have the customer, not just go after because you have that partner that wants a shirt and think like, I'm gonna do that. The amount of effort that's gonna require that, it's not worth it. But if you do have the market that really knocking on your door, that really want that product, and you're gonna put the effort behind it, you're gonna get that return. But just chasing after 2 shirts, 3 shirts, 4 shirts, whatever it is, it's gonna be a lot stressful for you. But if you do have the market and you have the product and you have the effort you want to put in it, for sure pursue that type of business. And that was us.
Jeff, how long have you been with your manufacturing partner that you're using now?
I have 3 or 4 manufacturing partners. I don't have one. So that's one thing I realized. I had to get more to both partners to create the garments based on the finished product that I wanted to create. And it's a lot of pain and back of the room to figure that out. But I have to get multiple ones to be able to get a finished partner, finished product.
Can I ask you where, are they domestic or overseas? Or?
We do have some domestic as well. Adrian Drew, that's on my left side for sure. That's one of our partners here. But also we have China, Hong Kong, and India who are producing pieces for us. And our fabrics are fabric suppliers that you, Gladson for sure. I took my longest standing
Discount.
My longest standing supplier of fabric is Gladson. Like I said, I've been in business for 20 years, and Gladson was, I've been with Gladson since then.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
for sure.
Kristen.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off of that. I could not find a manufacturer that had just the prints and, I love window panes, I love colors, pinks, purples, and I just couldn't find that. So thank God for Gladson, Holland and Sherry, I was able to CMT them and, make the bamboos and the purples and the blues. So that was my biggest challenge when I was on the retail side. Also, I think, I would have women bring in their best fitting outfit because I want to know what they're looking for style-wise. So I'd have them bring in their pants. I would pretty much copy the pants from the bottom and just kind of work off that because they're used to that style. That's what they want. So I'd have them bring in jacket, pant, shirt, and I would just kind of go off that and say, if this is what you're used to, let's kind of create off of that. And we can, trim things up from there. So those are my challenges, but I think I kind of worked through that and I would always make, at least one shirt, one jacket, one pant to get that fit down. Then when you nail it with a lady, they're coming back and buying everything. I have like 14 pairs of jeans. I'm like, once I got it, I want it in every color. So that was the challenge I had. But
That's cool. Juliana.
Okay. Definitely. My challenges were very different in the sense that everything is produced within 80 kilometers of Rome. It's all women. It's about 11 women. They all work from home. We don't produce when they're picking olives. So they all started with the made to measure with me and learning how to actually make to measure for that customer. After that, we developed a series of mannequins for our best customers. Each one has her own mannequin. So we go off of that. If they gain weight, don't gain weight, that's part of our problem. So when we make the custom garments, we always hold that extra fabric in for, do they gain weight, do they not gain weight? Because they have understood through the years of working with me, where I prepare them on the fabric, on the quality of the fabric, that just like it used to happen many, hundreds of years ago, you would buy the fabric lot. That's the most important thing. Then it would get passed down from mother to daughter, and she would rework the fabric lot and the dress so that it would fit her. So when you're buying AAA silk, or you're buying cashmere, or you're buying vicuña, or you're buying anything like that, you really are investing your money in the quality of the fabric. So women, unfortunately, I see in Italy a lot, maybe not so much in the States, have been with all of this fast fashion and these manufacturers that manufacture, a lot of garments and off-price garments as well, have gotten used to wearing polyester, to wearing all these synthetic fabrics. Whereas I find, frankly, that men have a much higher taste level when it comes to quality, fabric quality, how it's cut, what they're wearing. They're much more attentive to it. So with my customers, the challenge was teaching them about the fabric, and then obviously, their problems become my problems. And also making sure that when they do wear their dress or they get tons of compliments from all the people around them. So that's my biggest marketing tool, frankly, is the clothes going out there.
Thank you. Which brings us right to a question about marketing. I'm just wondering, according to a survey that Gladstone did, there's not a lot of social media does not impact women coming into the store as much as perhaps it does men, but I don't know that it impacts either gender. So I'm just wondering if anyone's done any marketing, any events or any advertising that has brought customers to the store. Let me start with you.
In my case, it has always all been word of mouth. They're happy. The two things that I do, the one thing that I do is, apart from Instagram, I do 2 shows a year where I present. For me, it's my presentation, so I present the collection to all of my clients. The press comes in, etc. So I do them in these usually historical, really beautiful places in the center of Rome. So different location every time. And that's where my customer will bring her friend and her other friend, and then that's how my business keeps growing. So it's through the fashion shows, frankly. And yeah, Instagram doesn't do much.
Kristen?
Yeah, I would say when you're wearing it, women are like, well, I want all of that. So how do I look like you? So that's the easiest way when you're wearing the jacket, the pant, the shirt, that's how you're gonna sell it. That word of mouth, we all know when women find something they like, they're gonna tell everybody about it. So I would say word of mouth, and then just dress and like it, because then they can actually visually see and they wanna look like you, and they're like, give me that. So that's a little bit I did.
Jeff?
We need to learn. That's something that we lack. That's something that we do need help with, just because we don't do enough marketing, despite the traffic we're getting. Social media is helping because I count Reddit and Google reviews as my social platform. So when people do Google, or even they ask ChatGPT, we're the #1 place to get female suiting in Boston, we come up as #1. So when Yelp called and said, you need to buy ads from me, I was like, wait a minute, why should I do that? Because we're already getting the market. So because it would cost so much, and also capacity-wise, it's not something that we do have. We don't do enough of it. That marketing will require a lot of visual representation. We'll like a lot of prints that need to be created, a lot of symbols we need to be created, and we don't do enough of that. So we do need support in there, and that's something we need to invest in. So.
Okay, Sarah.
Whoops. Is this on? I keep turning it off. Is that on? Okay. Over the years, we've done just about everything from print ads, direct mail, networking, events, reaching out individually to speakers. I mean, we again, all of our marketing starts again with who's the target market, what does she need, what's the messaging, what's the medium, and there's a lot of ways to reach clients these days. So we reach them in a lot of different ways. And but really, I just go back to marketing strategy. Developing a consistent marketing strategy, consistent brand message, and reaching out to clients in various ways. So. And you have a lot of choices today. So as long as your messaging is right, and your specific target and your strategy is right, then I think you can reach people in many different ways.
Thank you, Manny.
As a manufacturer, we don't directly market to our customers, but what I will say is that the way that you present yourself, in the way that you dress, considering the space that we all work in, it really is a true reflection of you marketing yourself and how you present yourself to the people around you. And so I think putting effort in there, as well as just always having a great garment, having great customer service. So those are the driving factors that really bring people to us.
So we also have a few retail locations, and I would say we do leverage digital assets. So whether it's lookbook photos, videos, we will send them via email and on social media. Also, what's been successful for us is we will curate events with other like-minded brands or companies. So we might have a mini trunk show, but we'll invite a jeweler, we'll invite maybe a custom shoemaker, and if we have a client list, we'll ask them to bring their significant other, because we'll have both product for men and women.
I like that. Shao? Our strongest marketing assets is actually our Instagram, and Google Ads, I guess, is second. People find us on Instagram and they love what they see because we feature most of all of our clients on our Instagram. So if someone's looking for something very particular and they can't find it readily available, when they come to our Instagram, they can see other clients that are wearing something unique. They can see your capabilities. They can see like the expansive amount of things we can do, and that makes them feel really confident that they found the right partner to make the garment for them. So we make a very conscious decision to always constantly take photos of our clients, with their permission, of course, when we always feature them daily. And Google Ads is, if that's a trial and error, I guess, but if you start in the beginning, you find out your keywords, where you are going to be the most successful, then you keep at it, and eventually the ROI is going to come in.
Thank you, Emily.
Marketing definitely is an opportunity for us. I have my director of production here who's smiling in agreement. We also do events with high-end jewelry and even different types of alcohol. I know that might be faux pas, but women's owned alcohol is a good way to bring other women in. And then LinkedIn, actually, over Instagram or other social media outlets is how we find clients, and then of course word of mouth.
Interesting. All right,
Can I take the
I'm
marketing
gonna
question?
ask just a,
Jeff, it's Jeff. Can I take the marketing
yes,
question?
of course, of course.
I just realized one thing that we had to do, we're very intentional about that, is demasculine the space that we're at. I think there's one reason why the female bodies are coming to our space and work is because there's a lot of things that we did. We're going to move anything that's super masculine in the space. If you walk in my shop, by the way, we buy women only, so there's not a reason why there's 20 people around you while I'm taking measurements. Those things really work for us. When you walk into my shop, is a lot of freaking trees everywhere, and it's because everything that we have in terms of the fabric that is dead, like from an animal, from a plant, so therefore the trees add life. So those are things that we had to do. And also our language have changed, the way we speak. Notice that I've been saying female body. I'm not specific about any expression, things like that. All these things have helped us to really be a little more exclusive. So, and again, this is something we had to do, and something that we're doing very organically. It's not something that we're forcing. So when somebody walk in the door and they meet me, or even Jim, who's my number one salesperson, they understand that. And we remove any type of sell order or anything like that. So we sell to the person. Our product is very diverse, so really showcasing whoever walk in the door, we offer the product. So there's not an absolute goal of the number that we're selling, but also make sure that you buy something when you leave the door, and also when you leave the door, you understand exactly what we're doing in our process. So therefore, you're gonna tell 20 people about what we do. Whether you buy or not, I want you to leave understanding what I do and who we are. So that way, that's what I want you to go repeat. So that's what worked for us.
That's an important point. Dory, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I did, and it really goes to your point, and it also goes to the point that Emily made earlier about merchandising. In this world of tailored clothing, women often feel like second-class citizens. I mean, when I go back to my early experience, that was how I felt when I was being served and buying the most expensive suit on the floor, and still I was treated like a second-class citizen. So when women go into, if I know there's, most of the people here have a men's store, if it's just a tiny little corner, like in the back, or you can't access it, or that will feel bad to the women that you're asking to write checks. So you want them to feel important. You want them to feel that you have invested in enough merchandise for them to make a good decision. You don't want to relegate them to a little area. So I think that goes right along with what Jeff is saying, as making women feel comfortable in this space, knowing the right questions to ask women as opposed to men. So all of those things are important in building the business long term.
Thank you. I'm going to open up the questioning. I wish we had another hour, guys, because we didn't get through this agenda here. But I would love to answer your questions before we go on to anything else. So please, anyone who has a question, I've got a microphone here for you. Questions? Yes.
When you get into fit, how do you best address the area of the jacket above the bust, the upper chest, into the armhole? A lot of times there's that extra space depending on the bust. What measurements or how do you best address that area of the coat?
Very good and technical question. Anyone want to take that one?
Yeah, I can give my suggestion, and I would also say lean on your maker, because it is an art, not a science for custom clothing. So how I might recommend it might be different than how your maker would. One thing, if you notice that right off the bat, if you have fit garments or you ask your client to bring in their favorite fitting garment, I would recommend let's do a princess dart on that, because then we can take in excess fabric. And if no one knows what a princess dart is, there are two types. One starts from the shoulder and it goes down the whole front of the jacket, and then you can do a 3/4 that starts around the armhole. From there, you can pinpoint exactly where you want to take in, so you can really manipulate the garment where you want to add shape or nip and tuck.
Any other responses? Yes.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree exactly with what Alex has said. I'll say that if you were working with a manufacturer where they don't offer a princess seam, then it's really important to understand the functionality of a dart and how that operates. So a dart is going to send shape to the fullest area on the body. Your dart is pointing to the largest area. And so it's really important that we have that dart, whether it's a princess seam or it is a traditional dart, in the right location. If our dart is creeping up too high, the fullness is going to be sent above where we're experiencing the fullness. If you're going to miss, it's better to miss too low.
Interesting. Sarah, did you agree? Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with both, and princess, the shoulder princess dart, if we have someone that's very, very busty, and we will fit, I can show you pictures of a lot of different shapes that we've done. So if they're very, very full, always go with the shoulder princess dart rather than the armhole. But the tricky thing about the 3/4 princess panel is that unless you're doing it in muslin, if you go to flatten it out, you won't have enough in the side seam to pull the piece over. So if they're a very tricky fit, and I would suggest a muslin fitting, and I know that most of the manufacturers now offer that.
Question.
I was just going to add over there, completely agree with a muslin fit or a first stage try-on. But again, I think most makers too, or a mentor, find someone too that you can bounce fit questions off of. So again, whether it's your maker, if they offer that service, or just a mentor that's been making women's wear, that can really really help to avoid obstacles and fit issues and remakes.
Yeah, and So the other thing I'll say too is that I think it's really important to document your journey. So taking those before and after pictures and making sure that you've covered all the bases so that you have the information where you can continue to learn and get better. If we don't know where we've started, we don't really know where we're going. And so I've seen that to be extremely helpful as well.
Yes, question.
Have you all attempted to or started to use artificial intelligence or machine learning in terms of capturing the measurements for women and creating garments that fit them very well? I see you're shaking your head no.
Good question.
I'm sorry to jump in.
Go ahead. It's all right.
Okay.
That's fine.
Because I keep trying all of the different measurement systems, the phone, the pictures, the scanners, and I'll just say one thing about the women's market, the women's body. A lot happens in 10 inches. A lot happens in 10 inches. And the curvatures are very hard to capture in any kind of automated or remote picture taking. If you want to use that for a generalized garment, go bigger and then shape the garment in alterations and note your alterations very carefully. There's an old saying that's very true in men's, and that's where it was invented. When you're taking the measurements of the body, it's, learning to measure the body can be taught pretty easily. It can be taught in a matter of days, if not a matter of hours. But learning to take the measurements of the mind is what takes really experience and sometimes decades. So that's what you're really doing when you're measuring a client. You're not simply writing down their measurements. You're figuring out a lot of things. You're creating trust. You're really getting, I think Xiao mentioned that earlier, it's a very vulnerable place for women, especially women who have, shape situations. And so you have to have the right bedside manner, but you are taking them along and hand-holding them along the way. Yes, it's a little bit more time-consuming, but at the end of the day, most women are going to buy almost every season, and that is really worth the investment of a little bit more time on those first go-rounds.
The thing I will add though is that you could have every single one of us up here measure the same person. And the reality of it is that we're all going to do things a little bit differently. And so it's not necessarily about did I do something exactly the same as somebody else, but what is my end result and did I get where I wanted to go? And so it's okay that there's a little bit of variation as long as we stay on the path to what we're aiming for.
There are companies out there that do AI though, so I know that is getting explored.
I want to add that I use a lot of AI for a lot of my virtual clients. We have I would say like maybe 40% of our clients I never meet in person. And we do it all over the world, and we utilize a lot of AI technology to get the measurements. But that is only step number one, right? Capturing the measurements via AI or any measuring tools is step one. And then it goes to the design team, and we analyze the heck out of those measurements, and also having a lot of back and forth conversations with our clients to see exactly where they want to land in their garment. And then we go into pattern making and working very closely with our pattern makers to get to where we want to be. And the process with that is a lot longer than, let's say, standard, I meet you in person, I take your measurements and I make you the garment. But it is a really nice way to introduce someone who isn't local to your city to understand that they can get custom with you. Because once you get that one pattern done, it's set. They're going to be coming back for more, and it's a very easy process. It's a lot of investment upfront, but the reward is great.
Are there any questions while we've got the panel? Yeah.
Oh, there's a question right here.
We work with multiple manufacturers. You can't just work with one. So overseas, US.
Who's doing the big list? I mean, we got a shop, I think we would like to look into it. Who do we go to look into it?
The question is, who's making U.S. Clothing? Is that your question?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, Alex,
We have production out of Rochester, New York, so we do custom women's wear and men's wear out of Rochester, New York.
Where is the women's block?
Yes,
Yeah.
we
So
have
I think
3
we're
different
doing
women's
women's
blocks.
blocks.
Yeah.
Whereas the company I work for too, we're also a manufacturer, but we're based in China. And so those are also on ladies' blocks.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah,
I
currently,
want China to interview everybody. though.
yeah, I mean, I'll take you to China with me. Let's go.
What do you look for when you're selecting a manufacturer?
it's a good question. I lost my mic somehow.
I can answer that because when I was at Trunk Club, the majority of our stylists, we had a 500 team of stylists that were all women. They all wanted women's custom all the time. And we always just said no, because it was a men's block. And so the number one thing is making sure that it's an actual women's block, that it's not a man's block tailored for a woman. So that's the number one, in my opinion.
I think for us, I just mentioned to you, we deal with number one of them. Can they get me the product that I'm looking for my customer? Because at the end of the day, this is the person I have a relationship with. And also, can they deliver in the time that I needed? I remember there's one manufacturer I was working with, because they don't have a good processing service, so which means if the garment is going to arrive on Tuesday, I have no idea that a garment would arrive on Tuesday, and that doesn't work for us. So I need tracking, I need information, I need to know where the fabric get there, I need to know when the production started, I need to know if there's an issue with that particular garment, what can we do to resolve that? Direct communication, so that's very important for us. And also, can you be creative enough to create the styles? Can you solve the issues if there's a particular style I want to create? Can you tell me, no, I cannot do it? Don't just make something and send it to me, and then it's my problem. And 8 weeks later, I have to deal with that customer, and we cannot get the product back in 8 weeks later. So those are the things that's important. You own your business, it's your business. It's not your manufacturer business, it is your business. So own it and deliver the dark life for your client.
I have, this works. One observation is pretty obvious. We have one man on the panel. Everyone here is obviously woman. They sell woman. They've probably been doing it for a long time and probably doing it well. So the question is etiquette. I'm talking about the man when the man is measuring a woman. I think that's a reality, and I think it's part of it. I would probably do it like this. Can you measure this? You know, it's something personal. So I must ask if you can guide the men in this audience into that realm, and how do we do it with respect and not in a non-threatening way? Can anybody answer that? I certainly want you, Jeff, to answer that, but I think you have more experience.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff, do you want to take that, or
It sounds like he wants me to answer later. Do you want me to take it first, or?
Well, I don't think we have that much time, so I would say whoever has, give me
So
the wisdom.
Yeah, for me is I'm a professional. Women have male doctors. So, and I think that's the other thing. Yes, we have to take the bust height, then we have to take the bust width, and we have to go around the waist. And yes, when the garment comes back, we're gonna do a fitting. And also, we wanna make sure that the space is a safe space for you. So which means there is time we're asking you either consent, or for myself is I'm telling you exactly what's gonna happen. I'm gonna measure you with this tape measure. I'm gonna take photos because I need to see posture and body. This photo will not go on Instagram. So all these things, is that okay with you? We're gonna do multiple fit. First time the garment comes back, there's an adjustment that we may need to make because we're working on silhouette. Fit can make different things for different people. So language, and conversation. We don't just go in there. You know, it has to take time, right? It's a very slow process. Throughout this time, you actually build trust. You show your expertise. This is the reason why 5 minutes later or an hour later, this is the receipt. And by the way, the receipt is itemized. This is exactly what you paid for. No surprises. Are you okay with that? I do not start this product until you start you swipe your card. When you start your card, you're my responsibility. And by the way, once I buy the product from Gladstone, it's not returnable. So therefore, you have 24 hours to tell me you're okay with this, because otherwise I cannot return this product. Are you okay with that? Right? So the Muslim fit, same thing. Photos would cover. So it's a really slow process for that reason. You rush this appointment, you're transactional only, good luck.
I just want to add something, and I think you answered the question perfectly. That's the example I give. You know, a lot of women have had, you know, they've had babies, they've had a lot of men in their lives that, you know them intimately that are not their partners. But the other thing that I would say is get yourself comfortable taking the measurements. Don't practice on your first client. If you have a salesperson, if you have a female friend, wife, girlfriend, whatever, practice so that you feel like a professional, so that you feel comfortable taking her measurements. And, you know, guy, I know that it's might be, but if you're scared, she will be uncomfortable, and she will feel that there's something else going on. So, you know, practice before the event, and then talk her through it, so that, you know, she knows what you're doing and you're just approaching it. And if you can't get beyond that, then have a female on your staff that will do it. And one of the other things that you could ask is, you could ask someone, are you more comfortable being measured by a man or a woman? You know, so that's another thing that you could put out there.
Daddy? I'll add one thing really quickly too. For a lot of ladies, this is their first experience with made to measure. It's not as common of a thing with ladies. I mean, we're definitely growing this and it's becoming more and more common, but at the same time, this also means that they're not familiar with the process and there might be a little bit more explaining that needs to be done. If a lady's asking you questions, she's curious. She wants to learn more about it, and that means that you have her engaged. That's a good thing.
I can't tell you how much I learned from you. It's wonderful.
Okay, perfect. Can you take one step over? Get you in there a little bit better. There you go.